Hello, all you beautiful people out there. I just figured as just keeping an eye on things here as they get closer to Huntington. Um, Primarily, what you have here is little pockets of wind, little pocket there, right inside there, right there. That's what these warnings are for currently. And you can see that they just extended it up here to the north, up in Whitley County for Columbia City, South Whitley, Blue Lake, Swan, North Webster. Sirens are going off in Wabash for the severe thunderstorm warning as the storm is approaching town. So if you're in LeGros or Andrews, you'll probably see this awesome frontal cloud. I would assume that would look pretty intense. There's a lot of intense rain coming in with this as we look at our reflectivity here. A lot of people would depict the colors that they see here to be the level of severity, but that's not actually what you're seeing. What you're seeing is basically the precipitation amount. So that's what we got to be careful with here. But needless to say, there is possibility for some 60 mile per hour plus winds coming out of these storms, which is what we are watching currently in Wabash. As it says, 60 mile per hour radar indicated winds. I got somebody in Wabash right now saying the sirens are going off, and it is dark. So he is talking about that with me right now. So just wanted to keep you guys updated as things are getting closer to Huntington County. I don't have any chasers out that I know of right now. They are at work. We did bump that time frame up last night, or early this morning rather, to the 2 p.m. time frame, which I'm glad I did, to give us more of a leeway for as these storms get closer. I don't really see the need for them to put us under a severe thunderstorm warning in Huntington County. As I'm watching, we had a lot of the kind of brighter greens. We can see a lot of the 20s and 30s, a couple 40s sprinkled in there, but it takes 55 plus for there to be severe, which we can see up here around North Manchester. So that's currently what we're watching for right now. There's not any real good rotation or anything like that. We got Justin. He just sent me some pictures. Looks like he's out and about. See where he's at. All right. He is currently on 24, just north of LeGros. So, yeah, it doesn't actually look all that bad. Let me see if I can get him on the radio. I'm not going to be doing. Uh-oh. Fell apart again here. Going to try to do as little talking as possible here, but Justin, radio check. 10-4. Good to hear you, good buddy. Would you like me to send you a new link? Solid copy. Just let me know what you're seeing. I'm not seeing any rotation on radar, so just keep an eye. All right, so he's just kind of keeping an eye on things. Roger that. So yeah, like I said, I don't foresee them really extending this severe thunderstorm warning into Huntington per se. Wabash, it's raining pretty good there. There's no real rotation or anything crazy going on there. Yeah, it looks stormy for sure. Definitely good looking frontal cloud. We'll share these after the storm goes through. Um, Definitely some good frontal clouds coming through there. And that frontal cloud is going to be right along that edge of where you see that red right there. So as he's coming right into that, he's getting some good pictures of some, basically with the frontal cloud, you get that cold air pushing down and it creates some of those low-lying clouds. And it's just beautiful to see sometimes. So, but like I said, we're not seeing any real rotation or anything like that. It's just there's a lot of wind involved in these storms. And it's kind of killing out. So this is kind of becoming a lightning and thunder event for the most part as things kind of come through here. So I just wanted to come on here and just give you guys an update. And we're just keeping an eye on Justin as he's going throughout there. Yeah, it's going to rain really hard. I'm looking at rainfall rates. I mean, if it sat still, you're probably looking at 2 inches an hour. So he's reporting very heavy wind and very heavy rain. So, like I said, that is the most prominent feature of this system that's coming through. We can go in here and look at the hydrometer. So when we look at these, we got the darker green, which is heavy rain, and then the red is possibly hail. He is not reporting hail, so it's possible that's just really heavy rain. There's a lot of really heavy rain inundated inside of these clusters. I'm not seeing any rotation at all. Copy that. Yeah, he's on 24 and he's having to drive awfully slow. So it just said it's raining awfully hard. So he's coming up to 13. So he's right in the midst of it as we speak. If they were, yeah, so they're cutting so they just cut that severe thunderstorm warning. It was back here and they just cut it back a little bit. It doesn't look like they're going to extend it. If they would, it would look something like that. But I don't see that happening. They would have done so already. If there were to be anything, I just don't see it actually. I think this is going to cancel out here in 10 minutes. Yeah, everything's kind of been centrally located up here. Now down here, the Indianapolis metro area, there you can see some of these heavier winds back here behind the radar. And you can see these cluster of storms kind of with the same development that we have. They're having the 60-mile-per-hour winds down there as well. So definitely a wind storm if it's anything to be talked about. So I think that what we're going to see Huntington wise is going to be probably 25 to 30. Alena Street in Wabash, there's a tree down with power lines. So keep that in mind. Huntington County is now warned, and that is for wind and possibly hail. Radar indicated, so we'll keep that in mind. We're going to go through and talk about that as we continue to move forward here. So let's see the details. Severe thunderstorm warning for Huntington County in northeastern Indiana until 3:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. A severe thunderstorm was located near Wabash, moving east at 25 miles per hour. 60 mile per hour wind gusts, radar indicated. Expect damage to roofs, siding, and trees. Huntington, Andrews, Markle, Roanoke, Bowerstown, Magenica, Mahon, Bippas, Goblesville, and Bracken. This includes Interstate 69 in Indiana between mile markers 281 and 291. For your protection, move to an interior room of the lowest floor of the building. Large hail, damaging wind, and continuous cloud ground lightning are occurring with this storm. Move indoors immediately. Lightning is one of the nature's leading killers. Remember, you can hear thunder. If you can hear thunder, you are close enough to be struck by lightning. Torrential rainfall is occurring with this storm and may lead to flash flooding. You heard that I was talking about 2 inches an hour rainfall amounts. Do not drive your vehicle through flooded roadways. So let's talk about hail threat. As radar indicated, less than 3/4 of an inch. Radar indicated 60 mile per hour winds. I guess we'll just keep an eye on that. That was kind of a late yeah, it's just picking up the really heavy rain, most likely. So just keep an eye on it. So the storm related, watching all that. This is the winds inside the storm. So we keep an eye on that. And then the actual velocity as it moves across the ground. So let's see where he's at. So I see you're at 13 and 24. How are things looking there? How are things looking where you're at? Copy that. Why don't you head down 24 back towards Andrews? I'm starting to pick something up on radar here. All right, guys, if you're wondering what I was talking about, I am picking up some rotation south east of LaGrove, so go down 24. Towards Huntington. There's not threat of tornadoes is low today, but this little guy right here is popping up, so we are keeping an eye on that. Getting one of our chasers in the area currently, so always be ready to get in your safe spot. I am watching you. So we got to be careful with this sometimes. Sometimes I can get a little overzealous, especially down in that area. Just head down 24 towards Huntington. So that could be a radar anomaly. So I've just got to be careful with what we're talking about here. We're watching the Huntington County line right now is where I'm watching. So being that I'm seeing that little anomaly on a couple different radar products, but it's out in front. I would say bathroom, Melissa. Any place that would be the most indoor and away from windows. All right, so Andrews, we are here. Huntington downtown is right there, so we are keeping an eye on this. Let me see where Justin's at. He is booking right along. So this is going to be popping its ugly head right out in front of you, so keep your eyes out in front of you, okay? Keep your eyes out in front of you. So he is currently about right here. So he's catching up. Closet and bathroom. Exactly, Braxton. So like I said, I'm being cautious with this because it could be part of the radar switch. So there's a little bit of a direction change with radar on how it looks on if it's going away or to the radar. So we got Jamie Smith sending some beautiful pictures here. We're going to have a lot to share here coming up. All right, so that looks more like a conglomerate radar anomaly. But just in case, still be ready. Looks like this system's picking up. It still says 25 miles an hour, but I think we're picking up speed a little bit. So it's coming up to the Andrews area now, the area that I've been looking at. But I think it's a radar anomaly. So just let me know what you're seeing. The stuff that I was seeing is coming up to Andrews right now. I think it is a radar anomaly, but we'll keep an eye on it. So just keep heading the direction you're going. So I think that's what it is, guys. You see this carry line, and that's from the radar. That does happen. Typically, I see that down here more often around the LaFontaine, Lancaster area. Kind of caught me off guard up here around Andrews, but still be careful, be in your safe area. You know, when I start seeing things like that, it does get me a little bit more sketchy once it's out in front like that, and you're catching it on multiple different angles. So So those of you in Andrews right now, you are catching the brunt of the frontal cloud, which would be absolutely gorgeous from what I could understand. I'm going to see where he's at. He should be catching up to it pretty close right now. He's right on its heels. So let's take a look at the hail. So there is possible hail, but most of it is just heavy rain. So we'll look at the precipitation depiction, and this just shows the how heavy the rain actually is. You know, that's just very heavy rain. So, you know, that's why when we look at these things for hail cores, we have to be careful, if that makes sense. Jody asked if there are signs of a tornado. I'm not saying yes. I'm not saying no. Copy that. I have a gentleman out currently in this area. This was showing signs of rotation right in here, but it is not anymore. So I was being cautious with that. But sometimes, and I said that out of abundance of caution, because what will happen is the radar is spinning. So it'll give us that sometimes a little bit of a spin when it's not actually there. So I have a chaser out in that area right now, reporting back. He's actually in my ear. Are you seeing any rotation or anything? So we are currently watching for that. So this is warned for winds up to 60 miles per hour. Wind gusts. It's moving east at 25 miles per hour now. So it'll be in Huntington proper before we know it. They did cancel this severe thunderstorm warning for Wabash County as it continues its eastward march. And they kind of canceled that a little early. You'll see most of the wind issues are up in. Say that again. Roger that. Let me look at where you're at on radar. Just kind of stay with it if you would. Yeah. Anything I'm looking at would be about another 10 miles ahead of you. So, yeah, probably another 10 mile. So there is an area of broad rotation. Nothing to really be too worried about. But this is wind related. And what's happening here, and these color changes you'll see right in this area, is because of the change in the radar. So we kind of look at how this isn't really picking up the strength in the wind. So we have to kind of switch around the wind has kind of died down for the most part. So 26 up here in the corner, 30. Of course, with downdrafts, things like that. That's right where you are. What did you get a lot of wind, Jamie? So there is a lot of wind there. And then it poured. Yeah, the rain rates are absolutely horrendous, up to 2 inches an hour rainfall rates, and you can see that depicted here. Just very heavy rain that's coming down there. So Roanoke. Yeah, so as we look at this, yeah, things are kind of slowing down a little bit, but yeah, I saw that. That was she's 5 minutes from Andrews. I don't know if I can share those on here. Oh, it won't show it. Oh, sad face. I'm assuming this isn't going to be warned much longer. So whatever you want to do, man. Wherever you'd like to rock and roll. Yes, wind and rain. That was the primary threat that I talked about. Small hail was a possibility. Did anybody see any small hail? That is a big question that I have. Small hail was seen as far as the radar goes. I didn't have any reports from my chaser that was on the ground. And I seen what we talked about on radar, and we can kind of go over that a little bit again through the hydrometer. You can see these little pockets of red. That is what we would consider pockets of possible hail. And I say possible because this hydrometer calls it hail or rain. And Jamie says none here. And that's important to note because, you know, it gives you that and or the hybrid, I think. Yeah, it gives you the same thing, hail or rain. So I don't get a hardcore, this is it. So let's look at the 1 hour accumulation of rain. We can see down here around Wabash, we've seen about an inch of rain, 3/4 of an inch to an inch of rain in the southern part of this storm as it's moving through. So if you guys are praying for rain, about an inch of rain is in the works on what we're seeing right now. And then we got a little bit of rain and light sprinkles behind this as it comes through the area. Still under a severe thunderstorm warning for wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour for Huntington County, Whitley County, and north of that for Warsaw, Wabash. That has all been canceled at this point. I guess Warsaw is Kosciuszko County, I should have said. Allen County, you're going to be up next. Possibly northern Wells County, and then northeastern Indiana up in Angola and Auburn. So, yeah, so there's been a gap in the storm here. So we kind of had it kind of lined out instead of keeping that bulge in the storm, which is causing the wind to kind of weaken out a little bit, which is good. This definitely wasn't as bad. It sounded like talking to one of our guys from Wabash that there was a tree down and some power lines down in Wabash. I don't know if you guys have seen anything like that in Andrews yet. It hasn't hit Huntington proper yet, but it's starting to sprinkle there, it looks like. I know Angel, she's on the east side of Huntington, I think, if I remember right. So things are progressing. I'm really working my voiceover today, guys. Hopefully this is going to help clear me out. You know, being that surgery was Thursday, I feel like I'm doing pretty good. Just got to wet my whistle occasionally. And I know Pepsi probably isn't the way to go, but I've been drinking my fair share of water. I don't know how I'm not in the bathroom right now. Michael, one of our chasers, says the wind is howling. Got a guy up in Phippus right now. He's staying right in the midst of it. There we go. Allen County, you have a severe thunderstorm warning. That is for wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. So they kept that going for about an hour. We talked earlier about some of those rogue cells that were going to kind of pop out, and we kind of see that starting to happen again and into Ohio. And that's important to watch for future development for the Ohio and Michigan areas, because that kind of presets the Angel says the wind is bad. Michael is downtown Huntington, I believe. Let me double check. Yes. Well, he's south side of Huntington. Sorry. Oh, so what I was talking about, the let's go back and look at the velocity, see how the winds are doing. So basically what happens is you get Roger that. We got some tree limbs down over by Troxel Farm Equipment. Just minor ones. Heavy winds and rain. That's what we've got, guys. So the frontal boundary is just passing through Huntington. So as these things pass through, and you can see it's really starting to push through now, most of the way getting ready to smack into Roanoke. Where these winds come from is that frontal cloud kind of rolls through, and as it's rolling, it pushes those winds down as the cold air and the warm air fight. So if you are in Allen County, 60 mile per hour winds are what we're looking at for you. We got Justin out moving trash cans. Thank God for that. But yeah, just some wind and rain, guys. Good old thunderstorms. Nothing absolutely crazy yet. I am not. Angel says it is pouring rain now. I'd probably pull out at this point. It's going to start kind of falling apart, it looks like. It's probably going to go more scattered. So this is the precipitation depiction. We can see we got a good amount of rain. Oh. It looks like it might be going to scatter out. We have the heavier pocket of rain over Huntington. And then a little bit more down around here so we can kind of see how things are progressing and starting to fall apart a little bit. It may cycle, but this is a weaker cold front, believe it or not, which is why we're not getting as much of the severity out of it. So let's look at something we haven't looked at yet. Let's see. Courtney May says she lives in Warren and she hears thunder. Yeah, so we're not getting the echo tops as high as I'd like to see them for hail. So that's probably why we're not getting them. So we're down here in Warren, she says. You're not even in the... We got some beautiful lightning, I heard. Looks like we're just going to get some rain for you, Courtney, which is good. A little bit of a thunderstorm. Probably some winds, probably 35 to 40 miles an hour, I would assume. 40 miles an hour is typically where they issue a special weather statement, so it's probably going to be less than that. So that's just what we are paying attention to. Pretty good front porch storm if it wasn't lightning. I agree. There's probably a good amount of lightning in that. I don't have that turned on, and I don't know why. They have changed some of my settings, and I'm a little upset that I don't have all of the things that I used to have. So I used to be able to do more than one screen, and I can't do that anymore. I used to have lightning and other things. So once we get back to Indiana, we'll be able to do some adjusting, and I'll be able to use my account here that I pay for and talk to them and say, hey, I got problems, and see what they're going to do to fix it. Because I'm not happy with what I'm getting. So Melissa says it's very, very dark over here. And I would agree. So these frontal boundaries. So you can see that the kind of direction is kind of something like this. The majority of the storms are going northwest. The overall direction is southwest, southeast. So as that's happening, everything's kind of moving to the east. So you kind of got this weird mix, and then you get a roll cloud in front of it. Oh, I bet. I can't wait to get back and be in the midst of all this. So absolutely pouring in Huntington right now. Roanoke, Markle up next. Warren up next. LaFontaine, you're in the clear for the most part. Starting to lighten it up there. Marion starting to rain there. Peru starting to really lighten it up there. Wabash starting to lighten up. If you're in Columbia City, you're still in the midst of it. If you're on the line of 69, anywhere from Grant County all the way up into Fort Wayne, you're right on the edge of that cloud there. So it is coming. Melissa, if I remember right, you are in the fort. So we're going to continue to monitor this for you and keep you up to date. I know we got some other people around the Fort Wayne area that watch us as well. Somebody said, is there a funnel in Huntington? No, not that I'm aware of. Taking a peek right now. No, if there was any rotation, it would definitely be showing, and there is nothing inside that circle. Yes, so that cloud line right there, it's going to get really dark once that line hits you. This would not be a fun day to be driving on 69. So now tomorrow, as we're starting to get through the backside of this here for Huntington County and start to get through it, I guess, Warren, you're starting to knock on your door down there. Tomorrow we have another threat of severe weather. So once we get into that, we'll talk about that a little bit more. Probably tonight, once I have the chance to get into some weather models and things. I'm going to have to take a break and let my voice rest. Kind of getting a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Tired. Getting a little tired. So recently had a tube down my throat. So once I get completely recovered from that, I'll be able to talk a little bit better, I guess, without getting irritated. So but basically, I'm waiting for the severe thunderstorm warning to leave Huntington County, and then we'll continue to monitor Allen County a little bit. You can see they kind of cut back Whitley County just a little bit as things are starting to progress into Allen County. So we can see that southern third of Huntington County did not get warned. So that's going to be sub 40 winds down there. And it'll probably stay the same for Wells County. Most of the severe thunderstorm warnings have been in the northeastern part, minus this one, which has followed all the way from Terre Haute. So it has had a trajectory like this all day. And it has just stuck with it. So it's just been a little power pocket down there. Hopefully everybody enjoyed this storm today. Like I said, we'll have a little bit more to talk about tomorrow as we get to that point. Nothing really crazy going on out there other than some wind and just some heavy rain. So we can see when I talked about this is possibly going to come into a little bit more scattered. We can see some little pockets starting to break in where this isn't as dense. And we can kind of see that in this. And so it'll continue to possibly do that as this front breaks up a little bit. So that's what we're going to continue to watch for. Hunter Nunemaker says a little bit of rotation on the north side of I-69 in Warren. It'd be very broad. I'm assuming you're going to be talking about this area right here or right here. So what you could be seeing is Oh, okay. That makes sense. What you could actually be seeing there, Hunter, is the bubbles in the clouds. Correct me if I'm wrong. But what happens a lot of times with these cold fronts is you get clouds that kind of churn and bubble. I have a good video of that I'll share sometime. I'm not going to find it right now. But yeah, as it churns and bubbles, it can kind of look and give that depiction of rotation. But if anybody was to tell me they saw rotation, I would more expect that around maybe just south of Markle. But that's just kind of what I'm seeing right now. But this is more of a churn and bubble type system rather than it would be a rotational system. I would say you're about right, James. Very close bolt of lightning scared the crap out of me. I've had that before, actually. The lightning was no joke with this system, from what I heard, especially from people in Wabash. That's definitely a big threat with some of these thunderstorms. Heavy rainfall now with a lot of wind. I can see that. When it comes to seeing funnel clouds, does that always mean a tornado is going to come, or does that mean that the potential is there? That is a loaded question there, Melissa. A funnel cloud does not necessarily mean that a tornado is going to come. However, it does mean that the potential is there. So, and why I mean that is a loaded question is there are many different things that could cause a funnel cloud. And without all the ingredients, a tornado cannot form. So you need the downdraft, you need the updraft, you need the rotation. You got to be careful that you're not looking at scud. There's a lot that goes into a tornado, and there's a lot of energy that is required for a tornado. I do plan, yeah, I do plan on giving an emergency storm preparedness class coming up, which will go over some of those parameters on what is a tornado, what is a funnel cloud, what is a wall cloud, what is a roll cloud, what is a shelf cloud, because there's a lot of different things that a lot of people can talk about. Now, I'm not saying that that gentleman earlier didn't see some rotation. It's very possible. Oh yeah, there's going to be a lot of thunder and lightning on the backside of this. But you know what? Let me see if I can just find it real quick. Let's see if I can share it. Because this was not a funnel cloud. I think it is this. Yeah. Let me mute that. So I don't know if you can see that or not, but that right there, I'm going to play it one more time. So I was trying to hold my camera as still as possible, but that had some very slow rotation. And that was right above me. That was a lucky catch right there. But that was not a funnel cloud. I considered that more like just a bubbling rotation of clouds. That was very broad. Could that have turned into a tornado? I don't think so. It did not. It actually flattened out, and the energy just wasn't there to complete it. So sometimes what happens is you get that warm air and that cold air that just kind of meshes and just kind of stirs the air a little bit, per se, and then you kind of get oh, I understand. Um, yeah, and so I've been lucky enough to experience quite a few different tornadoes over the years. I had the Greentown tornado back in the mid '90s. Right. That was a fun day. I think that was the first day I met Don, or one of the first days I had his hot dog. One of the two. He makes hot dogs. If you guys haven't had them, they're amazing. But yeah, it that was that wasn't my first tornado, but back in the mid '90s, when Greentown got absolutely obliterated by a tornado. Yes, I saw that as well. And you always got to be careful in those. Andrea said she's out on the hundreds. Yeah, that's going to stay well south. She said it's super windy, and it's going to continue that way for a little bit. Yeah, and wind. It's the rain is kind of starting to diminish a little bit. It's moving kind of slow, but there's your heavy rain line right there, with a little bit of a dip in there. So, kind of forgot what I was talking about. But here we go with the precipitation depiction. We can kind of see that we're losing a little bit of the precipitation depiction there, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But let's see how much rain we've had now. Yeah. So we've lost a little bit of the moisture, which isn't a bad thing. But yeah, once I get back and I'm healing up a little bit more, and fire department checking it out. House on Poplar Street was hit by lightning. Fire department is checking it out very well. Thanks for letting us know, James. That's crazy. Are these the only storms that are going to come through? I know you mentioned something about tomorrow and possibly having more. So it was all dependent on what this looked like today. The first line on if anything else was going to come through today. So let's go ahead and, oh, there's my ugly mug. I'm going to get rid of one radar and hopefully not crash my system here. But we'll talk a little bit about tomorrow if you have the time. Let me make my face a bit small. Okay. So over here. Got to let it load, guys. Sorry. And I know we talked a little bit about this yesterday. Let me remove that from the studio. Share screen. Okay. All right. So this is my radar. So I use this. I need to get rid of that banner. All right. So this is kind of how things progress today. Our severe thunderstorm warning's over for us here. We got a little bit of action going on down south, but we can see we have that southern push coming through, and we got that boundary right here. Cold front and stationary front still way back in here into Kansas, and then down here into the northern panhandle of Texas, where the low pressure currently is. Sorry, this thing pulls an absolute massive amount of bandwidth to actually talk about here. So what are we going to have happen here? So as we look, I wish I could pause it. Can I pause it? I don't know. Anyway, all right. So we're going to have these low pressures in Colorado and New Mexico and Oklahoma kind of push up and north. So we can see in South Dakota, we have that rain pushing north. We have over there in Illinois starting to push to the south and to the east. So that cold front that's there in Iowa is going to continue to push off to the east. And that's going to bring us our weather tomorrow. So today, what we had, rather than an actual front, was a boundary. So I don't know how you are with boundaries. I'm terrible with boundaries. But today, we were pretty good with the boundary. Tomorrow is going to write a completely different story. It's all going to happen to say whether we're going to have a blocking pattern with that low pressure that's currently in Colorado, which is why I said I was going to talk about this more possibly tonight after I rest a little bit. So you see that there's low pressure over here in Colorado. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that because that has the potential to drop also down here to the Amarillo area. If that drops down here to the Amarillo area, that's going to be able to bring enough moisture and instability up for us to have more storms tomorrow night. It will be most likely a broken linear line of storms, kind of like what we had today, with the potential for more damaging wind gusts, more possibility possibility rotation. Sorry, I'm starting to get to that point. I don't have my water out here. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as we get a little closer to this evening. And I will update a little bit later, probably in 4 hours, maybe 5 hours. There will be an evening update from the National Weather Service, and we will be able to update based off of that. So this boundary is going to continue to push south and west, or east rather. And so that will eliminate our threat as the high pressure takes over behind it. You can see over there in west central Illinois. And that's going to help kind of keep the other storms from building for the evening. So as that happens, Andrews is fine, no threat. That's right. So basically our threat's over for the evening. Tomorrow, like I said, we're going to have another threat tomorrow. And then we will address that as we get a little bit closer. So just kind of gives you an idea what that looks like. Watching multiple different low pressure systems and how they move is what's going to dictate how that changes and what that looks like for us tomorrow once we get to that point. So it'll be about the same time frame, I'm assuming. We'll get into that a little bit later. And then, I hope you guys have a good rest of your night. I'm going to go rest my voice and drink some water. And if you guys have any questions, send me a message. I'll be more than happy to answer that for you. And I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great night.